Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Premodern, and this is green-white Terrageddon. It's technically not Terrageddon, that's just good for branding, because there are no Armageddons in the deck. But this is green-white Terravore control, Terravore land destruction, Terravore oath, whatever you want to call it. Cataclysm's kind of an Armageddon, so I don't feel too bad lying to you. Earlier this season, I played a green-red version of this very same deck. It has basically all the same green cards in it: Oath of Druids, the various green stone rains. It's a Mox Diamond deck, Sphere of Resistance, Treetop Village, Mistress Factory, Rashadenport, Wasteland. All that stuff is the same, except in this deck, the support cards are white instead of red. That gives us access to Swords to Plowshares. The red version had Pyroclasm main. Swords to Plowshares, worse against many creatures, better against one creature. You know, that's just the words on the card. But in the sideboard, there are 3 Hailstorms, so we do still have access to Pyroclasm-like effects, even though we have to work harder to get them in green. Seal of Cleansing in this deck, I mean, that's basically naturalized. Any color version of this deck could have access to this effect, but being able to invest up front, so you could pick off something like a Standstill without giving them cards, or if you just have mana one turn and want to invest up front, there's a little bit extra juice on this one. The very cool cards are Cataclysm. Each player chooses from among the permanents they control an artifact, creature, enchantment, and land, then sacrifices the rest. I would like to keep Terravore, Sphere of Resistance, Oath of Druids, and Wasteland. Let's go. Enlightened Tutor can be a Sylvan Library, an Oath of Druids, or a Sphere of Resistance. I mean, this is also a reason to play Seal of Cleansing over Naturalize. It's something you could find on purpose. But the card I'm most excited for, which is funny to say in a deck with Swords to Plowshares and Cataclysm, is Funeral Pyre. Exile target card from a graveyard. Its owner makes a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. What do we, here on the BoshNRoll channel, know about giving spirits to our opponents while we're an Oath of Druids deck? We know a lot about that. Just a little passive graveyard hate. A lot of decks in the format do use their graveyard in one way or another, whether it's a deep analysis or even just counting the size of a Terravore, just various stuff like that. Gaia's Blessing. There's stuff going on in the graveyard in this format at baseline, but forcing an opponent to have a creature when you're an Oath of Druids deck is a very useful thing to have access to, and this is a card that's pretty good at doing it. The goal of this deck is to deny your opponent mana until you put Terravore into play, then kill them with it. And that's what we're going to do. Let's do it. This is green-white Terrageddon. I am on the play in round 1. I'm going to keep my hand. It gets set up pretty well if my opponent's doing anything creature-oriented. I've got this Oath, and no matter what they're doing, I have this Sphere of Resistance. That's annoying to everyone. Island Lotus Petal. I do recognize my opponent's name as a combo player from Legacy formats. Doomsday is like speaking to me for some reason. Whatever it is, any Lotus Petal deck does not want Sphere of Resistance in play. Those cards are not friends. They were in there on that one. Swamp Lotus Petal. Another Lotus Petal. Okay. Well, that was a pretty good Sphere of Resistance. Probably just bought me a turn. I'm going to play Sylvan Library this turn. And hope I don't die. A Chain of Vapor at any point could just set my opponent free to Doomsday me out or whatever's happening here. Ill-Gotten Gains. Those are some of the combo decks in the format. They went Draw Go with no land. I'm going to put Treetop Village on top and pay extra for Thermokarst, because I could start blowing up lands here. That would be pretty sweet. So they missed a land drop. I'm trying to deny mana moving forward. Arcane Denial. Okay, that cost them a Lotus Petal. Frickin' deal. That's kind of as good as a Stone Rain in this spot. Yes, I would like to draw 2 cards. That sounds pretty good. Swords of Plowshares, unlikely to be useful unless this is Reanimator, which I don't think it is. A Rashadenport would be a huge find here. They can't really play a non-basic unless they win right away, because Wasteland's already face up, ready to come for them. Passing without a land again. Get in my belly. Another Sphere. Okay, so put this one on top. And do I want to play around Daze? I don't think I do. That would cost them a land temporarily. Or I'm already playing around Daze. This is a 2-drop. I forgot that this isn't in play already. Dark Ritual in response. What's going on here? What are we doing? Cunning Wish. Oh, baby. Setting up Hurkyl's Recall. All right. Well, that could be a problem in the someday category. If they could cast it, it is a 4-drop right now, and they're showing me 3 mana. Lion's Eye Diamond. An investment in the future. Winter's Grasp. Okay. How much mana do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Winter's Grasp costs a lot. I would like to hit my land drop, though. Trying to figure out if I could Seal of Cleansing and Winter's Grasp, and the answer is no way, Jose. Am I worried about black or blue? I think it's blue. I don't think this deck has days in it. Okay, another land down. The island off the top. Tough crowd. Terravore. Put on top, put on top. Just hitting land drops here. I'm going to play Seal of Cleansing. And I think I just want to blow up Lotus Petal. And then it's time to begin combat. Here we go. Start winning the game. Okay, they passed with no play again. I'm going to look at Terravore and Brushland and another Sphere of Resistance. All right, Terravore on top. How can I do 2 things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can activate Factory. Okay. I will pay for life to keep and hope this doesn't roast me too hard. Another Sphere. And Treetop Village hits harder than Mishra's Factory. So here it comes. I don't need to hold up mana for anything. They hit another land drop. A Terravore on top. Wasteland on top. I'm going to activate Factory. Activate Village. Activate Village. Play the other Factory. Buff this Factory. And they are now dead on board. They got to do it this turn, whatever it is they're trying to do. Hurkyl's Recall costs 5. Terravore on top. And can I play a Sphere and push the win right now? Sphere costs 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. All right. I'm not going to chase that dragon. I guess I'll just pile these in case there's a removal spell. Okay, no, they're just dead. Cool. Sphere of Resistance, banger. We're playing in some kind of combo deck. Could be Doomsday, could be Storm, could be Ill-Gotten Gains. I really don't know. Funeral Pyre seems useful. Phyrexian Furnace may be useful. Naturalize. I mean, we saw Lion's Eye Diamonds and Lotus Petals. Aura of Silence, artifacts and enchantments cost 2 more to cast. That's huge. I don't think I need Swords to Plowshares, unless my opponent jukes me, which, if they do that, good job. Frozen Reclamation, target player shuffles up to 2 target cards. Like, that's also graveyard hate. Cataclysm is an incredible late game banger. I could shave some Oaths, because they're not going to have creatures. And if they just pivot their deck into, like, Black Stompy, then my deck's really bad right now. But I'm going to hope that they, A, don't have the ability to do that, and B, if they do, they don't do it when they're on the play. Okay, let's go. This hand does not disrupt them in any way. I'm going to mulligan just because I know what I'm up against here. Oh no, this one's actually fine, except that it only has 1 land. Alright, I guess I have to stop, but it's a good place to stop. Oath to the bottom, and Frozen Reclamation is probably better than Pyre. Wait, hold on. This is a hand that could trigger Oath, because I have Pyre plus Oath. I wish that this was just 7 cards. That would be so much better. Okay, I'm going to go Oath and Pyre to the bottom. And the reason for that is I don't want to give them a 1/1, because they might actually kill me with it. And I'm not interested in that happening. Yeah, if that was a 7 card or even 6 card hand, I could bottom Frozen Reclamation. Was it Show and Tell? Is it like Dream Halls? Is that a thing people do in this format? I guess we saw Cunning Wish. That would explain Dream Halls. Yeah, I've been arcanely denied. I get to draw 2. My opponent gets to draw 1 in this upkeep. If they Show and Tell putting in Dream Halls, I can put in Aura and blow up the Dream Halls. They get 1 spell. Dream Halls might even be banned. I honestly don't know. I'm just saying random shit here. Hoping any of it's true. Okay, I like the Wasteland on the Ancient Tomb. Mana Denial. Always solid. Cunning Wish in response. Getting an Intuition. Alright. They're getting set up for the someday where they get to do something. I welcome ports. I welcome spheres. I welcome them to miss land drops. That's fine too. I'm a little worried about playing out this Aura of Silence, because if it gets countered, that stinks for me. I think I want to just try to Stone Rain them. If this gets countered, it still costs them a turn. If they Intuition in response, then okay, now you have the card you want in your hand, but you're down to mana. Intuition in response, get like 3 dazes and counter my spell. That would be a pretty bad Intuition. Oh, Iggy. Okay, so it is this. Do I want them to have the Lion's Eye Diamond? Probably. Okay. Ill-Gotten Gains confirmed. And I might die right now with 3 pieces of Graveyard Hate in my hand because I tapped out for Stone Rain. I hope I get a turn to think about it, but a Dark Ritual sets it off here. Ill-Gotten Gains, for those who don't know, it's 2 BB sorcery, exile Ill-Gotten Gains, each player discards their hand, then returns 3 cards from their graveyard to their hand. This is a very classic traditional Storm engine. Okay, off you go. Yep, the Ill-Gotten Gains makes sense that they have that one. All right, so what can I do here? I could concede. They get back Lion's Eye Diamond, Ill-Gotten Gains, Ritual, and they get to do that, and then they have to Intuition or Cunning Wish for a win con. All right, I guess I'd like to see how you win, even though I did just, by discarding my hand, reveal 3 different sideboard cards. Yeah, now that I know what they're doing, I do wish I had played out Aura of Silence. That would have made this Lion's Eye Diamond a lot harder to loop. I'm just going to take cards as if I'm getting another turn, but I am F6'd. Let's see it. Ritual, LED, second gains. There's still 1 in the graveyard. You just get all those cards back again, and then the next time around gets either Intuition or Cunning Wish, which tutors a win con. The third gains. And now we see how they actually win. Green mana in the pool is fun. Got back Cunning Wish, Dark Ritual, and Arcane Denial. Okay, the Wish. How do we win? Hunting back, hell yeah. And even if I top deck Cataclysm, I can't play it, and they have a counterspell in hand. That was sweet. Okay, nice. All right, now I know what I'm up against. Have a little more information. I don't think that affects my sideboard plan, but it does affect how I play. Because I was playing like they were show and tell, trying to keep them off 3 mana, when it turns out that if I just left up Crows and Reclamation, their loop wouldn't have worked. Do I want more oaths in the deck to try to win faster? I have the 2 Funeral Pyres in the deck to give them a creature, but that's really it. I don't think winning faster is my job here. Okay, submit deck. Same deck. Turn 1 Sphere. Yeah, turn 1 Sphere, let's go. All right, keep it. That's a big deal. Okay, I think I want to discard Windswept Heath to do this, because the Treetop Village is a win con. Diamond, Heath, Port, Sphere. All right, I hope that's annoying. Lotus Petal getting in there. All right, if I play Treetop Village this turn, I can Winter's Grasp next turn, and I'm already in the Rishadan Port. This is basically the nut start for my deck. Ooh, that's a someday thing. I'm going to destroy the island. That's like tapping it, but forever. And I'm not doing 2 things with my mana anyway. A no fetch, that means they don't want to thin out the deck. Not fetching also means I can't Stone Rain a fetch land. I can port a fetch land and force the crack, which then I could tap the land after that. A swamp. Ooh, Furnace, that's nice. That gives me a little bit of counterplay versus a gains line. I am pretty soft to Hurkyl's Recall right now, though. And it only costs 3, which they do have. Oh, baby. There's a bigger land. Ooh, I could bonk that bigger land. I guess I gotta do it. Though counterspells are showing right now. Fetching in response. Mental Note. That mills them for 2 and draws a card. Okay, but the Ancient Tomb did die. And they didn't use the floating mana. That's all good stuff. Uh-oh, Replacement Tomb. I'm doing my best out here. Well, another one of those. I guess I'll just keep sending it. Intuition in response. Have I died? Yeah, this Oath is just so bad in this matchup. I'm glad I boarded 2 out. It stinks that this one is in my hand, but cost of doing business when you get a turn 1 sphere. You just keep it. 3 polluted deltas. All right, that's where we're at in the game. I accept. There's a polluted delta in hand. They're desperately digging for mana. Another ancient tomb. Keep it coming. Okay, I have a pretty interesting thing here where I could Cataclysm. That just seems really bad, though. I'm going to start attacking. That's what I'm going to do. This costs me Phyrexian Furnace, but gives me a clock. Intuition over top. Here we go. And I don't have to port. If I just believe they have enough mana to do what they need to do, I can leave up the mana for a Furnace instead. 3 Cunning Wishes. Okay. A wish costs 4. I think this is a port turn. Go for the land that makes the most mana. That just got tapped immediately, which means like they didn't wish in the upkeep in response, which is nice. Or it's terrifying, one or the other. This might be the turn we see them develop the Cunning Wish for Hurkyl's Recall. I think I'd like to just put a 6/6 into play, if that's the case. And now Phyrexian Furnace is going to stop tapping, because the bottom card of their deck is a land. Or their graveyard is a land, the next 3. I think this is just going to stay up with the exile a target mode available. If they crack this fetch land, they're dead on board. Alright, so they're planning to win this turn. Cunning Wish will cost the Lotus Petal. Okay, what's left in there? Hurkyl's Recall. Can you Herx and win all at once? Herx costs 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, some Dark Rituals could get it going. Yeah, this could definitely end right here. I mean, it's going to end here one way or the other. And I guess I have to Furnace the Lotus Petal. That seems like the scariest card in the graveyard, though. Yeah, there's 2 wishes, 2 intuitions. I can't take them off anything else. I'll just hit the 0 mana enabler. Okay, here we go. F6. Am I dead? I could definitely... There's lots of permutations of cards that could make me dead here. Dark Ritual. Lion's Eye Diamond. Gush. Oh, that's some storm. Okay, so there's 1 unknown in the hand. Okay, there's 0 unknowns, so they're just swinging for the fences here. This is a full random draw 3, hope it's good. They milled in Ill-Gotten Gains. Draw 2, please don't hit a Ill-Gotten Gains. Terravore is 10/10. Did you hit? No, they did not. Okay, that was awesome. What a good match. I think in, 35 matches, whatever I played of Premodern on this channel, this is the first proper combo deck I've queued into. It's a lot harder to do in these formats. You really gotta want it. But that was a lot of fun to both figure out on the fly and then execute. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. I have multiple creature lands, a Disenchant, and a Wasteland, and then your Terravore up the curve. This isn't the hand that dreams are made of, but I don't think I'm going to mull it. A Swamp. Rashadan Port, banger. I'll play Treetop Village, get that invested. And then next turn, depending on what my opponent does, I can develop Factory as a blocker, Port as a way to slow them down, or Seal of Cleansing as removal. Or I could just waste them, but they didn't do that. Ravenous Rats, okay. I'm going to discard... Do I discard Wasteland? I think I am going to discard Wasteland. I don't see a target for that. The Pyre. All right, I'll get Port online here. I love that Ravenous Rats is actually a staple card in this format. That is one of my favorite cards to cast of all time. I have a Pauper deck that I foiled out in college, like 2006, 2007 probably, that has a playset of Invasion Foil, Ravenous Rats in it. What a good looking card. I have been ravaged by the rat. Mistress Factory. Good job discarding Wasteland, you dummy. If I knew more about the format, I probably would have made a different decision, but the truth is I simply don't. Okay, I could do a couple things here. I think developing Sylvan Library is the best of them. And I am leaving up Funeral Pyre because it's just the one thing I could do. The other option would be to develop Factory so it can block as a 3/3 in the future. Factory is alive. Seal of Cleansing can hold that thing off, and so can a defensive Factory. Defensive factories beat offensive factories, assuming you have the same number of factories. If they have more, then it's a wash. All right, all they could do was attack. That's 2 mana they didn't spend. Yikes, okay. I definitely don't want 2 of these. Do I even want 1? I think I just want to hit land drops the old-fashioned way. I put Mox on top, and I guess Terravore on top. If my opponent Ravenous Rats me again, I can discard this Mox Diamond and I won't really miss it. I'm going to invest Seal of Cleansing, and then I'll probably port a Swamp in their upkeep. I don't need to use port to control Factory because Seal is already doing that. Okay. They want to see it. I will show it to them. This also makes Terravore bigger, and it loses them a land in a spot where land denial is my primary objective. Backup Factory. The Rack. Okay, I get it. That's how they win. Curse Scroll. Okay. Maybe I was tricked into using my Seal of Cleansing. But the Rack deals damage to you for cards in your hand less than 3. But my hand is pretty juiced. I don't want this Terravore. And I guess I don't want... So the options here are dump out a quick Terravore. I'm worried about removal, though. Right, I will put Mox Diamond on top. Keep it light. Play another Factory. And I'm going to pass the turn. And I'm going to port... Do I even need to port their Factory? I can wait for them to activate it. That'll cost them extra. Yeah, that's fine. Duress. Okay, I could Pyre my Seal of Cleansing in response, and then Duress has to take Mox Diamond, and I do have a 1/1 blocker. I think I'm into that. I'm not using that thing. You can take Mox Diamond that I wasn't going to use anyway. I will take 1 from the rack this turn. Okay, they just didn't do anything with the rest of their turn. I'll tap a Swamp in the end step. I take 1. Sylvan Library kicks in. Now I have kind of an interesting decision. Do I want to spend some life or not? The reasons to spend life are then I take less damage from the rack over time, but I'm basically spending 4 life now to not take 1 damage from the rack for a while. Is this game going to go 4 more turns? Right, I'm going to put Mox on top, and do I want to pay to keep Terravore? If they have a discard spell that is not Duress, then that stinks. What would I do this turn otherwise? I think I will pay 4 to keep it. And I'd like to wasteland this Mishra's Factory, and then it's use it or lose it on the Curse Scroll right now. And then that lets me build a better plan of how reliable these Terravores are going to be. This line is much worse against Ravenous Rats. A Curse Scroll to gain a coin flip to kill my Spirit token, unless the 2 cards are the same card. They can also do the trick where they name a card that I'm scared of, but isn't actually in their hand here. It's a cool trick. Dark Ritual is in their hand. Okay, sure. Well, that's a card they can get rid of basically at will. All right, I will pass the turn and port them in the upkeep. All right, no attack. Up to 3 cards in hand. We're both at 3 cards in hand, which is bad for their rack and bad for their Curse Scroll. Okay, Mox Diamond on top. Wasteland on top. I don't think I want to be spending that much mana every turn. Karst that. Okay, they're doing another roll the dice on Curse Scroll. Might as well name Dark Ritual, because I already know that one's in there. Smother. Okay. Smother's a good one to know about. That is the sub-game we've been playing around this Terravore the whole time. Well, my plan here is if they attack... All right, there's Dark Ritual. Uh-oh, what's happening now? Skittering Scourge. When you cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. That's a 3/2 flying. I think it's quite good. Or whenever you cast a creature spell. So no, that's just going to be around forever. Understood. Dark Ritualing that out leaves Smother up and gets their hand smaller. Yeah, whenever you sacrifice... When you cast a creature spell, sacrifice this creature. I just read that completely wrong. I reject your card text and substitute it for my own. All right, 50-50, unless they're both smothers. Name Dark Ritual for Curse Scroll revealed Smother. So their hand is Dark Ritual and Smother right now. It's starting to fall apart. I need to present them with serious pressure, which I don't think I'm actually able to do here. I can only cast one Terravore, and I know they're holding Smother. I could... Yeah, porting them in the upkeep doesn't matter. I'm dead in a very small number of hits here. That on top. And I guess I put Terravore on top. Top. And then this flies. Terravore is just going to die. Does Ravenous Rats change the clock? I'm deciding if I can attack or not. They also have Dark Ritual, which guarantees a Curse Scroll activation. That does change the clock. And the rack is here, applying pressure. I think this one has passed me by. 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is a 2-turn clock. And Smother doesn't even slow them down. I'm not going to deal 20 with a Treetop Village before that comes. All right. Yuck. And I have to take the damage from the rack because I have to port them if I want to even try to pretend any of this is going to work. All right, port that. Okay, they let me port them. That's cool. That makes the Smother Dark Ritual scroll line worse. I guess they needed to be in their draw step for that to work anyway. Or no, they could have Dark Ritual, activate, scroll, name Smother, play Smother. It was there. Now it's back because they hit a land drop. I did just play a Wasteland. Dark Ritual. It seems they know how this sequence works. Just get an extra 2 damage on the thing you were going to do anyway. Yeah, this Skittering Scourge smoked me. I guess what I need is like Swords to Plowshares near the top of the deck. But I'm at 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm at 1. Or no, I can block the Ravenous Rat, so I'm at 2. And if I find a Swords to Plowshares, I guess I could plow my Terravore to buy some time. It's dire, team. Yeah, I go to 2 here. And super dead. Okay, so I think my opponent tricked me very early in the game into using my Seal of Cleansing on a Mishra's Factory and then dumped out 2 other artifacts that each did like 6 damage to me over the course of the game. That was sick. Aura of Silence blows up the rack. Naturalize blows up the rack. I don't think I need Funeral Pyre. They seem willing to put creatures into play. I just didn't have an Oath at any point. I had all the Terravores instead. I don't think I want more Plow in the deck. It would have been nice to have exactly 1 at one point. Zurin Orb could be a way to stay out of rack range long enough to close out with Terravore. Okay, Funeral Pyre is out. Are these Stone Rains even good? Is Sphere good? Sphere tends to be good versus Dark Ritual decks, but not if I'm behind. Right, I'm on the play though, so I'm into that. Is this a Call of the Herd matchup? Just some way to hit them. This is also a card that if they discard, still gets me value. Enlightened Tutor is card disadvantage, which might just be untenable, even though the cards I'm tutoring are pretty sweet. Yeah, I don't think I'm a big believer in the Stone Rains here. And then I'll bring in this stuff. Because their deck doesn't need to cast spells over a certain point. They're just going to activate Curse Scroll and attack me with creature lands and actual creatures. Okay, I mean, this one has my mana and a library. I'll keep. Library is one of my more important cards. I did pay 4 life once last game and then died for almost Xyz a few turns later, but I think I got my money back on the rack on that one. And I wasn't 1 draw step away from winning anyway. They are a Dark Ritual deck. They could have a crazy flourish turn 1. They could just arrest my library. Cabal Therapy. All right. I hope they name Oath of Druids and not Sylvan Library here. Seal of Cleansing. Good guess. I only got 1 of those and it's not in my hand. Getting this library down is huge. And that's the Cabal Therapy skill testing subgame of any format where Cabal Therapy is legal. I'm not saying they're unskilled for naming that card, but they did just get Sylvan Library triggered on them like 8 times last game, and then the Seal of Cleansing is none of the stuff they're doing impacts Seal of Cleansing that much. That could be a later problem. Ravenous Rats could take Plow or Terravore here. This Rashadan Port is what they don't know about. Or maybe it was this one. Or maybe it was this one. I drew one of these Rashadan Ports this turn. Okay. Do you want Plow or Terravore? And I can just ram Terravore next turn as a 2/2. All right, no, I cannot because it's in the graveyard. I didn't really want to fetch a forest anyway because I need access to white. Now we do the fun part. Sphere of Resistance Wasteland. Oh yeah. Put Brushland on top, keep Wasteland. Sphere, Waste. All right, I hope that was good. That felt like a big turn. I do think putting them back 2 mana immediately is going to be worth 4 life over the course of the game. 2 mana Curse Scroll. Ooh, that's a lot of oaths. All right, I'll put Brushland on top and Oath on top. And do I want to shuffle that away? I think I do. What do I need a second Oath for? Nothing. That sounds like the right answer. Okay, I have deployed Oath of Druids, which your move if you want to play out a Skittering Scourge or Ravenous Rats. So some number of slots in their deck just became unplayable, which they have the other slots that are fine, like the creature lands, the Curse Scroll, the Racks, all that stuff still plays just fine, but you can't just chip shot me with a Ravenous Rats anymore. Skittering Scourge won't do it. Yeah, they're holding up Curse Scroll with 4 cards in hand. That's more than you want when that's what's going on. They put on top, put on top. I don't want to be taking a ton of damage here. Another Sphere. Let's keep that hand flush over there. Oh yeah, they're going for it. Might as well. They named Mishra's Factory and revealed Bottomless Pit. Okay. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card at random. Okay. That card is not coming into play this game. I'm pretty worried about the rack, though. Mishra's Factory. It wasn't a bluff. That actually was in the hand. A library trigger shows me a bunch of mess. I'm going to put Mox on top. I am going to pay 4 to keep the forest because the rack is such a concern of mine that just patting my hand a little bit here makes sense to me. I don't like these 25% chip shots they're taking. Not that it's the wrong play. I think it's actually the right play, but I don't like it as someone who, even if it hits 1 out of 4, now 1 out of 3 times, that's still inevitability. Okay, they named Bottomless Pit and revealed Wasteland. Okay, Wasteland is a good card to know about, I guess. Tap Factory. Tap Swamp. We know they have a land drop to make, though the Curse Scroll is still alive here. There's the Wasteland we saw. Are you going to use it on a port or save it for something else? All right, there's the rack. Yeah, I paid the 4 life last turn, so this would deal less to me. We'll see if that was a good investment. Deck. If I pay 4 right now, I go to 6, but the rack's not really a problem for a while, but the Curse Scroll is becoming more and more of a problem. All right, I'm at 6, which is terrifying, but it's where I am. I will take the chip shot with Factory that I have available to me. Got to win the game somehow. And then I'll port their Factory and port a Swamp. Played another Swamp. Land drops are almost the best thing they could have here, because that's just a thing that gets out of their hand without costing them anything. The worst things they can draw are random little creatures, though Skittering Scourge might actually race a Terravore at this point. I'm at 6. The rack does 0. Another Sphere. Mox on top. Is Sphere helping me? I don't think so. Sphere on top. And I'll play out Forest. Wasteland's pretty effective here, but if they waste me, they're down a land, which is the same as me doing stuff that I want to do. Activate Treetop Village. That's the one that doesn't die to Curse Scroll. That's why I'm spending more here. Village go in. They did use the Wasteland. I accept. They're going to take a 50-50 Curse Scroll in the end step, which will half the time take out 1/3 of my life total. They named Bottomless Pit and revealed Smother. Okay. Well, Smother's a card they can't get out of their hand unless I let them. Tap a Swamp. Tap Factory. Okay, so they have 2 uncastable cards in their hand right now, and the more cards in their hand, the better my odds on Curse Scroll are. If I find a second Factory, I can bully the Curse Scroll. All right, a second Rack. That gets their hand lower, but I'm currently out of the rack. Library. Found another Oath. Most of these cards stink. Right. Sphere costs 4 right now. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. But then I'd be in the rack. All right, so top. And do I even play my land? I'm going to attack for 2. Playing the land means that a duress gets me back into the rack, which is worth a ton of damage now that they have 2 of them. But it also gives me more options later down the road. Okay, I am going to play this out, though. I understand the risks associated. Tap Factory. Tap Swamp. They didn't scroll me in the upkeep, which is when they would have been guaranteed a 50-50. So if they drew another uncastable, they just missed a window to hit me. If they drew a land, it's the same. There's not many spells they could cast here. I mean, Duress would actually be worth 2 damage, the same as a Curse Scroll, and complicate my hand size for the rest of the game. Okay, they didn't do anything. Best outcome. I'm going to look at 2 bad cards again and hopefully 1 good one. That's a good one. Okay. Mox Diamond on top and Oath on top. I don't think I actually play a spell this turn. 1, 2. Yeah, they have the Curse Scroll up. That if it kills my factory, it's 2 free. I can't give them that. I guess it's free to roll the dice on my face too, huh? Maybe I did not consider all the pieces there. They named Bottomless Pit, revealed Smother. Okay. What a fun card, Curse Scroll. I am stressed as fuck. I tap the factory. They floated a mana, which means I'm going to go to their draw step before I tap the other land. I'm just going to pass priority here. As if they use this floating mana to Curse Scroll, then I get to port their last land, and they're definitely not doing anything this turn. Your opponent has an upkeep and a draw step, and now if they use mana to scroll me, it's a 1 and 4 instead of a 1 and 3. Some kind of land destruction, another... Even one of my Stone Rains plays here. I boarded a bunch of them out, but if I can get them down 1 more land, that's great. Oh, that's actually great too. Top, and I'm going to look at 3 new cards next turn. Okay, do I want to take the chip shot and let them roll the dice on Factory? Or, I mean, they get to roll the dice on my face for free if I don't. Yeah, let's roll dice. 25% of the time they get to kill my Mishra's Factory. If they're even worried about it, they might just ignore it and go face. All right, they did not ignore it and go face. How'd we do? Did I walk into it, or did I get rewarded for my boldness? Okay, they named Ravenous Rats and revealed Bottomless Pit. So the Oath is doing its job. There's a Ravenous Rats now in their hand that they definitely can't afford to play because of Oath. Upkeep Curse Scrolling me. Okay. Before it becomes a 20%er, they're taking their extra 5% here at the cost of all their mana for the turn. They named Ravenous Rats and revealed Smother. I will deny all of your mana and play on. I'll fetch here. I guess it's Forest. I don't use Plains for much. All right, 3 fresh cards. Can one of them be playable? Seal of Cleansing. That's pretty good. Thermokarst. All right, all of these are good, actually. Am I more worried about the Curse Scroll or the Mishra's Factory? I think it's the Factory. So Heath on top, Seal on top, and then do I want to take out the Factory? I think I'm fine. I'm quite comfortable porting that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take out Swamp, and then I will port Factory. If they want to scroll in the upkeep again, we can do that. Oh, wow. Yeah. The odds are getting worse here, but my life total is 5. Named Ravenous Rats, revealed Skittering Scourge. Oath doing the most here. Oath has not put a creature into play, but it has been him to Turok. This turn I get to blow up the Curse Scroll, and then my opponent's doing almost nothing. I put back Diamond and Heath. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Destroy Curse Scroll, and then port them out for the rest of the game. I can develop Sphere next turn, and then they can't even play Smother. Yeah, tapping mana in the upkeep. No. That's gone. We dealt with that, remember? Port Factory. Port Swamp. Hit a Swamp. Cataclysm. I don't think that's... Okay, so how does that work? Mox Diamond definitely on top. Don't have to think about that. Cataclysm costs 6, so the answer is it works poorly. So fetch to 4. This is my last fetchable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or that only costs 4. Cool, I got away with 1. One less than I thought. Port Factory. I played out that sphere because I want Smother to cost the max. There are 4 mana. I do have to keep in mind that if I play out this Terravore, my opponent can trigger Oath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, top, develop a port. I might have missed an attack with Factory there. I'm becoming a little bit stressed about my clock, but I probably shouldn't be. I should be trying to win the game. Diamond on top, Karst on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, yeah, I'll just grasp this Factory. And then port my opponent twice next turn. Off we go. 8 cards in their hand. Who's the discard deck now? Put one in the graveyard. We got it. Thermokarst. Call of the Herd. Okay. Top. I think it's time to apply pressure. They can Oath here, but I think that just has to be okay. Oh shit, if I just hit a Ravenous Rats for them, that's not great, actually. I'm gonna port them, because if they smother my elephant, then Oath doesn't happen. Okay, deal. Alright. Oath fizzles. Tricked you into that. Smother's out of the hand. Clear the way for Terravore. Terravore is big enough to win a game against most of their things, but I think I might have just been kind of foolish there and shouldn't have done that at all. I put back Diamond and Karst. Play Wasteland. Fire up Factory. This is how we win. Bash. Now the triple port gaming begins. Oh, they're just F6ing. They're just playing to the Moto clock at this point. It's kind of whack, but it is part of the game we're playing, I suppose. Top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Destroy that. Attack with Factory. In real life, I would be playing this a little more carefully, but a Magic Online where we're getting wild. It's possible I should be declining these triggers at this point, but I don't want to. Attack, and I think Terravore is big enough to be an actual game-winning threat here. And I have Plow for whatever they Oath into. Alright, now they're conceding. Cool. Fun. Alright, maybe I should have sandbagged the Oath a little bit, let them play out a Ravenous Rats first, because that did let them just chill forever. Or maybe a Funeral Pyre should be in to make them do it. We're both sub 7 minutes on the clock. It's pretty close, though. I don't think I want to make any changes. I do acknowledge that there was several turns of that game I was hoping for a Stone Rain, but I think it's okay. Maybe Mox Diamond is actually just a bad card in this matchup. Hold on. Is there clever things to do? If keeping my hand flush is what's important, like I'm not going to be powering out turn 1 spheres, but these games are going so long, who cares? This would give me Funeral Pyre, Corrosion Reclamation. Does that matter? Not really. I could get some Grass back. I don't think Furnace can draw a card, but they're not using their graveyard. I don't think that matters. I could get this Enlightened Tutor back, which is a card I identified as being bad because it's card negative, but also so is Mox Diamond. And having the Oath or the Seal at the time I wanted, or the Aura, I can see all that being useful. Do I want any number of Hailstorms in just in case they get rowdy in the red zone and I don't have an Oath? I don't think so. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to keep because mulligans are also lightning bolts in this matchup against the rack. Duress. Sylvan Library is going to go, almost certainly. Yep. Thermokarst. 8th pass. I could just get to work with a Funeral Pyre here. Start attacking for 1. Duressing me again, sure. I think they're going to want Naturalize here. Just the way their deck works. Alright, I am not doing the Funeral Pyre thing because A, I don't think it'll work, and B, it's a card out of my hand. Bottomless Pit, hell yeah, okay. Well, perhaps it is time to Funeral Pyre, but that makes Oath worse. Alright, never mind. Bottomless Pit, I discard a card at random. I lost my Thermokarst. Hey, look at that. Look at me playing to my outs and being rewarded, and you all thought I was stupid. Right, there's going to be a Terravore in play in the near future. They just discarded a Smother at random. That'll teach you. A second Bottomless Pit. Wouldn't it be a shame if a shitload of lands ended up in the graveyard at random in my upkeep, over top of the Oath trigger even? Funeral Pyre, Exile Smother. That's a nice 1/1 you have. And I'll discard 2 lands, and then I'll Oath into Terravore. Draw for turn. Call of the Herd. But I don't actually want to play that because then they get to trigger Oath, and I'd rather just run them over here. Oh wait, I can't attack with that. Then they'd get to trigger Oath. That's the thing I just said. Damn it. Alright, never mind. Playing fast and loose. Let's get that hand empty and see where the chips lie. Oh yeah, they're just hellbent over there, and then just crush with Terravore. Play out Wasteland, attack for 6. If they block, then I can flash back, Call the Herd, because they're going to trigger Oath anyway. Okay, cool. Opponent's at 14. Curse Scroll. Okay, you need a card in your hand for that to work. Second Terravore. Well, I can't play that. Unfortunate. Okay, they've taken the block, which means I'm going to flashback Call of the Herd and hope that the creatures in their deck are smaller than the creatures in my deck. Things like Hypnotic Spectre and Ravenous Rats, kind of, whatever in the face of a 6/6. Skittering Scourge puts 2 lands in the graveyard as well. Thanks for that. All right, what do we got? Activating Curse Scroll. Naming. Swamp. All right, their hand is a swamp. They feel pretty dead to me. 5, 6. Activate Factory. I can put 2 lands in the graveyard at instant speed between Fetchland and Wasteland. I don't think they have a block here that saves them. Yeah, that's just 10 damage. Cool. The Oath plan worked. Thank you. Funeral Pyre. MVP. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. I think I want to keep this hand. Again, not one that you write home about, but if this is any kind of slow matchup... Oh, it's Gobos. Well, that's scary. But at least that's not Lackey. I'll take that. And a diamond would be a great draw. Shot and Port, mediocre draw. Windswept Heath would have been a stealth good draw too, because I could have fetched a Plains, exiled my Heath, blocked Skirk Prospector, and slowed them down. Pile Drive-In. Okay, Oath of Druids is probably my best draw. Swords to Plowshares I cannot cast even if I do draw it. It's not great. Oath? Shit. Alright, well this game might end very quickly. I'm going to go Wasteland Sylvan Library. I'm trying to play around their Wastelands by not developing Port. And I might have 1 turn here to dig for Oath. It might already be too late at that point. And Oathing into Terravore might not be enough. Yeah, this hand is not good for this matchup. There's the War Chief. I'm taking a Gajillion. This Prospector could even flip itself into a Lackey here if they've drawn one since turn 1. Nope, okay. Just 8 damage. Yeah, I think even if I find Oath and play it, it won't be good enough. And then the Terravore on the other side definitely won't. This is definitely a matchup where the red version with Pyroclasms is a lot better than the white version with Plow. Another Thermokarst. And concede. Play 0/0, Terravore, concede. Alright. Got my ass. Goblin's one of the better decks in the format. COP red coming in. Swords to Plowshares, all the Hailstorms. Call of the Herd. Call of the Herd can be awkward with Oath, but I just want more ways to gum up the ground. Graveyards don't matter, and I don't think I need to give them creatures. The Stone Rains are all pretty mid here. I think I might just cut them all and focus on putting Terravore into play. Are Stone Rains worse than Sphere? Yes. Well, Sphere kind of Stone Rains both players. But if a player is going to play 2 cards in a turn, Sphere is twice as good as Stone Rain. And my opponent's more likely to do that than I am. Okay. I think this is what I want to do. Zern Orb has some consideration. Like buying 1 turn or making Terravore lethal are both things I could respect. I don't think I'm going to mess with that. Okay, I would like A hand that develops Oath quickly. All right, this one has a bunch of sideboard cards in it, but no way to cast them. This is a mulligan. All right, now we're cooking. I'm going to keep this and put Terravore on the bottom, because I want to Oath into Terravore. I don't want to play it. And I'm just going to Forest Go here. I guess like playing out Oath ahead of time gets ahead of Lackeys. Fanatic. All right, that one I don't care about. That one can off itself, though. Oath may or may not be high impact. All right, yeah, I think maybe I should have turned one the Oath. I didn't get punished by Lackey, but that would have been a way to let it slip away. Like, I could just use Oath as N time walks, where N is the amount of time it takes them to come up with a different plan, instead of trying to scam the Terravore ASAP. Okay, now with Sylvan Library, I have something to be doing if they just refuse to play creatures. And I guess I should have had this conversation with myself before I bottomed the Terravore. Because right now, the way this game's going, this Mox Diamond looks like it's never going to come into play, where I could conceivably Oath into one Terravore, play another this turn, and then just have double monsters. All right, Fanatic puts me to 19. And then what? Goblins is sometimes red-green to play naturalizes, which would be pretty tough here, but they've already committed a mountain this turn. I don't think there are any mono-red cards that can destroy an Oath of Druids in the Premodern pool. Okay, so they want to play the don't do anything ever game. I can play that game with them. And I think long-term resources are worth more than short-term Roshad Port, as far as not dumping out that Mox Diamond. Goblin Lackey, are they going to give it haste? Goblin Pile Driver, okay, they're just trying to outmuscle Terravore. They realized this is not going anywhere good. All right, I do need some lands to mill over before a Terravore, though. Like, this just arriving as 0/0 would not be great for me. I guess playing Mox Diamond last turn would guarantee that at least does that much. And we know one of my 4 Terravores is all the way on the bottom of the deck, so I just need to hit one of the other 3. Okay, there are some lands in there. Swords to Plowshare is also great. Circle of Protection red. Okay, I don't need Mox Diamond. Do I want to pay for a life here? No. All right, COP red. And here I think I actually do want to Mox Diamond. That makes Terravore bigger. I could Call of the Herd, or I could just leave up double removal. I'm going to leave up removal. If they want to set up some kind of huge War Chief turn here, Hailstorm will get them. A Ringleader. Hit 3 goblins, including a Gem Palm Incinerator. Okay, I could Wrath all their stuff here. Or I could take 7 and get a second Terravore. I think the second Terravore is worth taking 7 here, and then I can do the Hailstorm next turn. If I even need another turn. 20? 20? How do you feel about 20 damage? Is that enough? All right, top. Yeah, sometimes all of your remaining Terravores are just, 15 lands down in the deck. That was pretty nice. Okay, now I gotta fully respect the Lackey on the play business. There was probably a Hailstorm milled over. My opponent is likely aware of it, even if they took the time to look at my graveyard, even if I didn't cast one. I don't think the Windswept Heath Funeral Pyre thing is good enough to challenge Lackey. I only have the 4 Heaths. Yeah, I'm not that interested in that. Okay, here we go. Same deck. This is a turn 1 Oath of Druids. I'm going to keep. I do need to draw another mana to fully stabilize with the Hailstorm. Because if my opponent goes Lackey, I go Oath, they hit me with Lackey, I get a Terravore, then what? They might be far enough ahead at that point. If they don't have a Lackey start, I'm going to feel great here. If they do have a Lackey start, we're going to game. Skirk Prospector, okay. That one's a harder decision than Mog Fanatic. Ooh, I like drawing that Forest. That means I'm Wasteland proof. Mox Diamond, discard Treetop Village, play Oath. All right, figure it out. Don't cast Naturalize. Yeah, this could be double Terravore next turn, or it could be Terravore plus Hailstorm protection. Roshad Port. Like, Prospector can just pop itself off for a mana here and then go unspent, or they can try to put a better creature into play. I didn't even attack for one. They're just like, fuck that. Okay, fair enough. They want to go into the Rishadan Port game. I can play that game. Do I want to sphere them? The problem with sphering them is I'm also sphering me. Whatever, let's play. Okay, that sphere might have been a bad idea. But my opponent will need to put a creature into play to win at some point. And I'm just going to keep drawing lands, it's fine. Never worried. I could play around Wasteland. Great. I was about to say I could play around Wasteland by going Mox Diamond instead of the land. But Mox Diamond just feels more fragile than a land, even though I know they have Wastelands. There's only 2 left. Okay. They've got me squeezed. There are now 5 lands in the graveyard, though, if this Terravore ends up on the stack, or if Oath ever triggers. Okay, Windswept Heath is good against Wasteland and Rishadan Port. That one I will use as a land. I've learned nothing. And I'm not going to fetch it. Unless they port it, then I'll think about it. Okay, I've been ported. Uh-oh. Drawing all the Terravores makes Oath kind of bad. They port it again. This game's going to go on for a while. Enlightened Tutor. I don't think there's anything I want to tutor for here. I don't have a Darksteel Citadel in my deck. Tormod's Crypt. All right. That could slow me down a little. Oh, come on, deck. Don't do this. Oh my god. That's so bad. What's in my deck that can help me here? Nothing. Yeah, the Enlightened Tutor costing me my draw is bad. Like grabbing the Seal of Cleansing even in my deck right now. It is. Like grabbing Seal of Cleansing to take out the Tormod's Crypt proactively is not nothing, but it's not really something either. Oh, they took the turn off. Interesting. They didn't port me. Did they forget or what? I could resolve a Terravore right now. They would be able to bomb 5 lands out of my graveyard, and then they'd get to start oathing. They would get to oath 1 creature out. But if they oath, that's lands in the graveyard. Yeah, it's go time. I'm going to cast a Terravore. And they're all in my hand. There's nowhere else for them to go except onto the stack. Start as a 7/7. All right, here's the oath trigger. I hope to see a lot of lands go in the graveyard. That makes the Tormod's Crypt a lot worse. They flipped Gem Palm Incinerator directly off the top of the deck. No additional lands added. And this is a card that I was a little worried about. If they can put 2 damage on my Terravore. 2-mana Goblin Lackey. All right, now they're just dead. Okay, I might have to decline Oath here and just cast the other Terravore. I'm going to politely decline the Oath, which should tell my opponent what I've got going on over here. Okay, Mishra's Factory. Additional Terravore. Yeah, they're all in my hand. That's what's going on, opponent. Surprise. And I'm not going to attack here because Gem Palm Incinerator would trade with Terravore. And not on my watch. Goblin Tinkerer. Destroy target artifact. That is a later problem. Okay, they are attacking. I have to block the Lackey. I am not going to mess with the Incinerator. Terravore doesn't die to that. Okay, where are we on the damage output scale? I attack, you make some 2/2s. You're not beating them there, though. I have Factories and Hailstorms back to block. I'm going to attack with my Terravores. I need to get this Tormod's Crypt out of the way so I can trigger Oath 1 more time, which should flip almost all of my deck. Hopefully not actually all of it, though. And get 1 big attack next turn. I can also Enlighten Tutor for Zurin Orb and regrow my Terravores. Attack with my boys. Do they want to save the 10 life right now and let me start rebuilding, or is there... Okay, they are going for that. The creature's still smaller than my Terravores. Shout out to old school Magic design, where things counted both sides. Okay, I think I would like to play Mox Diamond and get Factory into the graveyard here. That's not great against Tinkerer, but that's going to take a little while to heat up. And I think I can live with that. All right, my boys are 3/3s again. And I can dump out the 3rd one, or I can leave up Hailstorm and Engineered, or Tutor and block with Factory. Yeah, I don't think this 3rd Terravore is going to be the difference maker. What I'm hoping for now is that the 4th Terravore is not literally the bottom card in my deck. Wasteland. Blowing up my Mox. Do I want to float mana? Yeah, I'll make a white. Make you think about it. I think I want to use that floating white to stand up Mishra's Factory. That can block the Incinerator or force the action on Wasteland, or just nothing and it's fine. Okay, I am going to A-tutor here for the Zurin Orb. That means, I mean, Oath isn't going to trigger anyway, so I don't have to think about that. Oh, did I not bring that in? Was I just talking the entire time about a card that's not even in my deck? That's really funny, actually. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, everyone's shouting at the screen. You were right. I'm a dope. All right, I could set up Sylvan Library. The old do nothing here would be pretty nice. I guess I'll grab this COP red. And now they're incentivized to cut me off white where they can. If they port my plains, I'll just play the last Terravore and hope that their Oath puts some lands in the graveyard. Yeah, they did nothing of the sort. Okay, go to battles. Attack with 2 3/3s. If they block, it puts them into the Oath, which means playing out the Terravore is free money, because then I don't even have to think about whether or not them Oathing is bad for me, because of course it is. But I can play around it. Okay, the third Terravore from hand. And I'm basically out of action here. If these big booties don't get it done, nothing will. Here we go. I hope to see these booties get bigger. Oath. My opponent has a lot more creatures in their deck than I do, though. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at all those lands. Okay, 5 lands, then hit a Mog Fanatic. This is a lot of 8/8s. Okay, sweet. All right, I built an awesome game plan around a card in my sideboard. That part was kind of embarrassing, but the rest of that game was pretty textbook. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. I'm on the play in round 4 with a fascinating hand. I'm going to keep. This looks like a 5-lander, or even a 6-lander because of the mocks. But Treetop Village is a creature, Rashadan Port is interaction, and then Cataclysm is the giant top-end banger that my deck plays. I can have some faith in a hand like this one. A Plains, a Mother. Alright, well, there's a threat. I could just dump that out and bet. I'm going to do that, actually. Having the Cataclysm in my hand just completely changes the texture of how I'm thinking about the game and the pacing. Like, normally this is a control deck, but if I can get like a turn 3 Cataclysm that gives me a giant Terravore and kills 1 or 2 creatures out of their deck, that's cool. Sylvan Library. Okay, that one is moderately offensive. A second port. Okay. Well, we are about to settle in. My poor little 1/1 Terravore not gonna cross the finish line versus 1/1 Mother of Runes. It's not even a trade. Straight up lose the combat. Okay, double port. I know I'm sandbagging a Cataclysm. Sylvan Library does survive the Cataclysm. You get to pick an enchantment. Paid life. Gemstone Mine. Yikes. The goose is loose. All right. This is fun. The old Mother of Runes Shroud creature combo. A land that will eventually put itself in the graveyard. Give me more of that. Okay, I think I'm into Sphere of Resistance against this deck. What a strange game we're playing so far, though. Tap the Plains. That's the one that casts Swords to Plowshares. Getting buried by this library was not on my wish list for the plan I mapped out here. What I'm really hoping for is to just play out another creature this turn, and then Cataclysm gets 2 things dead, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands in the graveyard. Yeah, the disrespectful Mongoose getting a taste. There's no way for that to go wrong. Even if I could put a land in the graveyard, they get... Oh no, Shroud. Mother sucks. Your mother sucks. Okay, now I have to think in advance. I can play Sylvan Library, but they could port my port, but not if I... All right, so if I play the land out, I get action here either way. Okay. Now I'm in the Sylvan Library game. Playing out this land makes Cataclysm worse, but if I can make Cataclysm worse for them first, I'm into it. And I think here, do I want to port their port or their planes? I think it's still the planes. I can cast Cataclysm with, even if I get ported, but I don't know if I can survive getting some clutch removal spell resolved against me. A second port, okay. That one might be annoying. Oh, you've got Terravores too. Well, I hate that for me. They're going to be the same size because that's how Terravore works. But I have more life. Oh, an Oath. That's bad news for you. Okay, hold on. Hold the phone. I don't care about this seal. I think I do want to pay for the Oath. Yep, okay. Mishra's Factory, get in. Oath of Druids costs 1, 2, 3. And then I can port my opponent twice this turn. And then the game will become very strange. Do I want to port their ports? Kinda, yeah. I'll port their ports and make sure my turn does what I want it to do next turn. Floating a mana, stopping your draw, and then port your port. So I have the option here of if they panic and start dumping out creatures because they're behind Oath, then I can just decline Oath and play Cataclysm and get more out of it. And then our Terravores can touch tips, and I have 2 creature lands, so they're 0. If they just come up with a Swords to Plowshares at any point, that's not great. I'm really curious about this Gemstone Mine. Is there a splash in the deck? Oh yeah, there is. Okay, now we know. That confirms it. I didn't think they were playing Gemstone Mine just as a land that eventually dies. All right, Disenchant Oath, pretty clutch. That gives me my Cataclysm plan back. Or as much of a plan as that actually is. Okay, I only have slightly more life now. Seal of Cleansing. I think I want to blow up their Sylvan Library. Okay, top, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't want you making any more decisions. Then in the upkeep, they can actually take me off Cataclysm with ports, so I'm going to go after their ports. Yes, that is a true statement. Okay, deleted the Gemstone Mine. Whatever it is, it's go time. Am I going to get in tier? Oh no. They're going to flip the script on me? That's what it looks like. And then their Mother of Runes. Yeah! Oh, they got to it before I did. Shit. All right, well, I'm just dead. Instantly dead to this Mother of Runes. Okay, well, they have the actual get in their deck and other stuff to do. All right, Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, the turn that they resolved their own Terravore was pretty messed up for what I was trying to do. Okay, Swords to Plowshares. I don't think I want Funeral Pyre. Phyrexian Furnace can beat up their graveyard, but I care about their graveyard too. Call of the Herd gets me on the board versus the Mongoose part of the deck. Am I actually interested in trying to mana denial this deck? And I could cut a couple of my Stone Rains. I think I do want 1 Funeral Pyre in, because getting Oath going first is a big deal. Yeah, maybe 3 Stone Rains come out, and we just focus on Terravore combat. That was sick. Okay, keep my hand. Forest and pass. And if they do like a goose or something, I'm immediately coming for their life. Okay, so they're going to need a Naturalize immediately. A second goose, or they can try to race. That is legal. Okay, let's party. That's a lot of stuff. Terravore is 11-11 right off the bat. And I'm going to play Rishadan Port and pass and make sure they can't cast a Terravore of their own this turn. That's my job. I guess Sphere of Resistance would have done that too. Okay, Swords to Plowshares, I gain 1 trillion. I'm going to port the Plains. Okay, there are 2 Terravores left in my deck. Rashad porting my port is live now. Yeah, I wish I had played Sphere of Resistance last turn. Right, I'm going to waste their port in combat so they can't think about casting a 2-drop after that. Okay, here we go. The second Terravore. I guess Sphere of Resistance is better in my hand because now I can play my second Terravore. And this does let them, if they have Forest Terravore, get one into play. Then I can Oath a 3rd time and hope that the Terravore they can't block is lethal. This mana doesn't cast Terravore. It does cast Vindicate. That I don't care about at all. Zuran Orb. All right. Do I want to go in on the final round? I think I do. All right. This is the last Terravore in my deck. Hope it's not the bottom card. It was not the bottom card. 22 power on that bad boy. I'm going to attack with my 22 power creature. They can sack all their lands to get Threshold, block to stay alive, but then be dead on the next one. Okay, cool. All right, Oath is my strategic advantage here. If I can keep their Terravores out of the mix. I don't think my deck's going to get any better here. And Hailstorm could wipe out an army of non-threshold Mongoose. I guess Phyrexian Furnace keeps them off Threshold for that part of the deck, but that's not really the part of the deck I'm trying to beat. I mean, maybe it matters. And it will matter sometimes. Like if they get Mongoose into a shitload of mana denial and lock me under my own sphere, that could be a game where Mongoose takes it. I don't think I care about that, though. Okay, well, my hand does exactly one thing. I will keep. It does one thing, but it does it quick. Please cast Nimble Mongoose. Oh no, they played around it. Now what do I do? Sylvan Library off the top? No such luck. Daragaz's Caldera. That's the Jund lair. Sylvan Library. Shit, they have the card I wanted. Oh baby. Oh baby. I was going to Wasteland that, but this is even better. I'll put it in the Karst. And that's why lairs are bad. I basically just got 2 lands from that Stone Rain. Doesn't matter if I can't turn the corner, but a Terravore or a Call of the Herd gets me cooking here. If they make the mistake of putting a creature into play, that's something I can punish pretty hard. The Guise. All right. So I may have actually blown it here. I got excited about drawing Thermokarst, but I knew they had a basic land in hand. So if I had Karst in play, or in hand right now, they could be on 0 lands, and then Disenchant isn't a top deck they could hit. So I might have actually messed up. But I would be down 1 mana, so that wouldn't actually work. Yeah, this forest that I played last turn would have been Wasteland in the graveyard. No, I would have been a mana short of that. Okay, I think it's okay. Opponent did not take any extra cards. They do have a Wasteland. They do have a Naturalize. Life is Pain. Yeah, Sylvan Library. Hell of a card. Okay, I need something that does something. My own. I'm going to Wasteland their Wasteland. It does tap for mana. And I've got my own library. I've got a shuffle ready for it. Build your own legacy experience. I'd be pretty happy with a Sphere, a Stone Rain, or a Threat, including Oath here. And that is most of my deck. All right, library, don't betray me. We get so many looks. Okay, already happy. What else can I get? Ooh, all right. Well, yeah, I want all this. Top, pay for Wasteland, waste the Treetop Village, play the Oath. All right, game on. We're back. Is there a second Naturalize and a 5th land? They've been selecting for every turn of the game, so it's possible. 8 down to 4. That could be Desperation. I hope it is. Gemstone Mine. That turns on whatever interaction they have. Okay, do I want to mill over the Exile card? I could just shuffle my deck here. I think I kind of like that card existing in my deck. I'll fetch. Also, if I mill over my last 2 fetchables, that's not great. All right, shitload of stuff, including Call of the Herd. But I don't want my opponent triggering Oath. I'm not super interested in that Call of the Herd right now. Okay, put Brushland on top, Call of the Herd on top, and develop Sphere of Resistance. Let's try to make the game harder for them to play. Swords to Plowshares, I go to 23. I'll take that. They can't take cards from Sylvan Library anymore. Well, they could, but they'd have to sack a land first, and they'd have to make that decision before they're looking at the cards. You can't look at the cards, then sack a land and decide to keep one. Rashad and Port. And knowing that there's Call of the Herd in my graveyard and on top of my deck right now gives me some comfort. Like if they have Swords to Plowshares, I have a plan. Okay, flip to Terravore, put back Oath, and I will pay here. I like that Factory, and I like this Sphere. Factory can block Goose. Sphere keeps this game competitive. All right, I'm at 40. All right, I might have to pivot on to Call of the Herd. No, that's not true. I'm not going to wuss out. I have 2 Terravores left. Yeah, 2 in exile. Yeah, unless they're the bottom 2 cards in my deck, this is fine. And they only have 1 white mana left. 6 cards in the graveyard. All right, Wasteland's pretty good draw. 6 cards in the graveyard means I don't actually have a good block here anyway, and I want that in play for Oath, so it's fine. All right, keep on oathing. There's 2 Terravores left. That one, pretty chill, just milled 3 cards. I like that. Thermokarst, I like that. Cataclysm. That's gotta be game over, right? Okay. Put on top, or put on top, and oh no, I don't have enough mana for that. Shit. Whoops. Yeah, that's not how that works. All right, I guess I'm just passing the turn then. I forgot I had 2 spheres. Okay, now the game gets interesting. If they have a 3rd Swords to Plowshares, or their own Terravore. Yeah, this is pretty clutch. Not wasting me. I fucked up that turn so bad. I just got excited about the Cataclysm. Okay, unpunished, but that was actually a huge disastrous mistake, because if I just take the Stone Rain there and clip their forest, they can't recover. Like, they can't play their own Terravore, and I will eventually work my way through this. But I gave them a chance to, if they start dropping Terravores here, they will have more than me at the end of the party. And that was actually a huge punt, just losing track of how many spheres I had in play. Whoops. But unpunished, on we go. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the play in the final trophy round with the vintage hand, Oath, Pyre, Keep. This will be contingent on my opponent having a card in their graveyard, but if they don't produce one, or if they don't play a creature, I mean, they might just like go turn 1 Jackal Pup or some shit and get roasted. But it's really not hard to have an opponent with a card in their graveyard, especially when you're a Stone Rain deck. Because the trick with Stone Rain is either they interact with it, and their interaction, their counterspell goes to the graveyard, or their land does. Island, Portent. Ooh, a handsome open. And we're playing against a blue deck. That's fun. I think it makes the most sense here to develop Sylvan Library for a variety of reasons. It's probably the one we're more scared of. It's probably also, like, if they have Daze, whatever I do this turn is going to suck. But if they have Foil, and this costs them 3 cards, but if they just have nothing, I'd rather have Library Online. And the Enlightened Tutor's here. Enlightened Tutor can get Seal of Cleansing if they ram out a Dreadnought on me here. Blue-white's not going to do that. Meddling Mage. All right, what are we naming? How dialed into Premodern is this opponent? Green-white plus Sylvan Library. Yep, both of Druids. Good call. They're potentially the correctly amount of dialed in. Oh, finding an untapped land here would be so fucked. Okay, we did it. Put Oath on top. Pay 4 life to keep. Swords to Plowshares, Meddling Mage. Play Oath. And I have the Pyre, and they have the Portent in the graveyard. This is an actual fight I can force. Putting removal in your deck is pretty smart. They briefly had me in trouble, and then I wasn't in trouble anymore. Treetop Village, Brushland. How much damage do I want to take? I don't need this Treetop Village. I could take the bonus Oath, in case they have Disenchant. But I don't need Brushland if that happens. Alright. Alright, I'll play bonus Oath. Let's get another one of those in. Treetop Village. And pass. Now I'm Insulated versus Disenchant. I am going to take my time here a little bit because I haven't tested a counterspell yet, and the Funeral Pyre is, weirdly enough, the most important card in my deck to resolve here. Terravore on top, and Brushland on top. Thermokarst the Plains. That resolved. They either don't care or they don't actually play counterspells. Getting Zabo's Webbed here would be tough. Oh, we're an Esper deck of some variety. Yeah, I'm just going to keep on trucking here. Terravore on top, Brushland on top above it. Hit a land drop. Okay, I'm going to try attacking and see what happens. If this draws out a removal spell, that's a removal spell they won't have for the Funeral Pyre token. And if this just starts connecting, then I'm in business. Okay, connected. I think I'm going to try the Pyre this turn. I've played around Mana Leak with my mana. They had a chance to cast a counterspell and didn't. They had a chance to play a removal spell and didn't. Funeral Pyre. At best, this is a 1-for-1. Or at best, it's Terravore. At worst, it's 1-for-1. Sure, got a counterspell out of that. I accept. It does make these oaths quite a bit worse. Activate Treetop Village. Brushland. Activate Factory. Try attacking for 5, see if they start respecting that at all. I don't think there's an instant speed sweeper for creature lands. There's Pernicious Deed, but that has to be in play up front. Okay, Gush. That picks up 2 lands when my job is to deny them lands. Is there anything I want to E-tutor for in the main? I don't like the top of my deck. I could grab a second Sylvan Library to see more cards. I could get Sphere to slow them down. I could put Seal of Cleansing in the bank. I think I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Okay, cool. There's the card I probably would have gone for anyway. Sphere. Wake Up Village. Wake Up Factory. Okay, they just conceded. Cool. Nice. All right, found the line. That was fun. I don't recognize this deck in my limited pre-modern experience. It's a Esper-colored Gush deck, like some sort of just control, whatever. I don't know. The Funeral Pyre actually looks great here. If they're not going to commit creatures. I like Call of the Herd as an additional threat. I didn't see Accumulated Knowledge. That doesn't mean they don't have it. That could be a temptation for Rexian Furnace, but I do kind of want them to have a graveyard. Swords to Plowshares had a moment to shine there. The Stone Rains versus a Gush deck is always kind of a cat and mouse game, but they have Plains and Swamps too, and they seem to be a pretty awkward splash. I think I'm going to shave 1 Plow. I want some in because we saw the Meddling Mage, and I'm not even convinced I care that much about that. But I am bringing in an extra Pyre to try to turn my oaths on. I think in a grindy matchup like this, Mox Diamond is kind of bad. Doing things faster is nice, but I don't want to draw them later at all. Okay, without knowing a ton of information about their deck, I'm just adding 3 more things that can be creatures, one way or another. Okay, well, when you board out 2 diamonds and still end up with 1 in the opening hand, you get the best of all worlds. That means you get the mana acceleration, and it doesn't cost you bad draws later. Main phase opt. What are you playing around with a main phase opt? Or what are you playing into? Okay. Selecting for, do you have something better to discard with Mox Diamond? Makes perfect sense. I'll bite on that one. Discarding Flooded Strand. Okay, I don't really want my Mox Diamond dazed. I don't even know if they would do that, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen by playing my land first. Another opt. The amount of selection, like these 1-mana cantrips make me feel like we're playing against a Dreadnought deck, but I haven't seen a Dreadnought deck with this many colors in it. All right. I will take a turn off of doing other things to play Sylvan Library. This will demand a response. Yep, that qualifies. A Plains. Ooh, am I getting vindicated? Hell yeah, I am. That's sick. All right, cool. Cool. Never punished. I think I would like to invest Oath here. That's ahead of Meddling Mage, ahead of Dreadnought. There's lots of control win cons that might not even care about that, but this is what my hand does, so it's what my body will do in real life. The opponent missed their last 2 land drops, so their hand is all spells. getting into the multi-port bonus here. Drawing an untapped land would be sick, because that would let me thermokarst and still do other stuff. Okay, I think here I'm going to port their 2 islands and then try to karst the plains while their blue is tapped low. Boo, boo. Terravore the draw. Okay, well, I'll just go back to porting you then. And I will attack the white mana. Mox Diamond. That's certainly a way to bully a Rishadan port. But what about another one? Okay, I'm going to thermokarst the plains and drop another port. My pants are all the way down to a Sabo's Web, but I just have to accept that that's the world I live in. Armageddon. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, I mean, the Oath is still exciting. Wasteland. A swamp. Duress, yeah, go nuts. My hand sucks. They're going to take Enlightened Tutor, is my guess. That's the only card that really does anything. Oh, worried about Thermokarst. Well, that's good news for me, I guess. Hey, bow, 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 bow. I could tutor for Seal and blow up one of their mocks in here and try to make this game very ugly. All right, Enlightened Tutor. Would have preferred Sylvan Library, I guess, but my mana doesn't cast that. Just trying to put this game in the garbage. If they want to, like Armageddon, the Armageddon deck, I would like to start denying their ability to cast cards like Counterspell. Funeral Pyre would be great. There's 2 of them in the deck. Drawn super live to that shit. Stone Rain flooded here. Opponent also missing land drops, though. Flooded Strand, bad news for me. Windswept Heath, good news for me. I'm not going to fetch because I want to draw lands. I don't want to thin one out. A second Oath in play doesn't really matter to me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, now I'll see if I can trick my opponent. I'll commit the second Oath, and then we'll see if Funeral Pyre can get in. I really got to pick a spot for this, though. If they fetch, maybe I'll do it in response. That means Counterspell's down. All right, now we're playing serious cat and mouse, discarding Void Mage Prodigy. Okay, here we go. Now something that's actually worth countering because I'm causing real problems for them. Didn't counter it. All right, I'm going for this here. Exile Counterspell from their graveyard with Funeral Pyre. Okay, are we in? Is it go time? They went to clean up, so I'm going to get an upkeep step. Okay, one of these oaths will trigger, the other will fizzle. They could plow the spirit before that happens, sure. All right, we take those, I guess. Mishra's Factory. What happens if my opponent oaths? Am I worried? I could just jam this Terravore and make them figure it out. I think I like that. All right, you can oath. So far, I've seen like Meddling Mage and Void Mage Prodigy in their deck. They're declining the oath. They don't want to mill themselves. If they're a mostly control deck with like 2 or 3 creatures, milling out might actually kill them. Okay. I'm going to begin combat. I'm not going to get Factory involved. Just trying to play it careful here. My opponent's also playing it super careful. Just not fetching, playing around Stone Rain where they can. Oh, but they stopped. I don't know if they just have no win cons left or they're not interested in playing. But there it is. Another day, another Premodern trophy on the board. I really like Oath of Druids as a card in all formats, and all the formats you're allowed to play it anyway. And Funeral Pyre, that was kind of a game changer. I don't think I had a moment where it meaningfully affected a graveyard in this league, but I didn't play against accumulated knowledge or anything like that, so it just didn't really come up. But it came up as trigger Oath involuntarily several times, and it won every game where it happened. Unfortunately, never got to cast Cataclysm. There was that one game I was trying to line it up, and then my opponent had Terravore first, and it just became untenable to do that. But I did win all my matches. I defeated the person who tried to Armageddon me. Do you know whose house you're in? The Enlightened Tutor package was kind of sweet because 3 of the most important cards in the deck, the Sphere, the Library, and the Oath, are just enchantments anyway. And then you have a bunch of artifacts and enchantments in your sideboard that matter. And just having one, like, it's not the point of the deck, but it does kind of let you double dip your sideboard cards and smooth out your engine. Another shuffle when you have 3 Sylvan Library in your deck is useful as well. What can I say? I like the deck. I like Premodern. I like the format. You sickos got me on the hook. It being on Magic Online, what is the gateway? Just make it so accessible to people. Magic Online, if you're listening, please bring Premodern out here permanently. Just make it a format we can play day in and day out. I would love to get it in the regular rotation on the channel. If you are watching this in late January and they've already announced that they're keeping it forever, that's great. But right now it is mid-January and they haven't said any such thing yet. As far as I know, 6 days from right now when I'm recording this, Premodern will be gone from Magic Online and never return. But I hope that's not the case because this is a delight. People seem to like it on the channel as well. I like playing it. I like exploring this format. This has been a very expensive Magic Online experiment for me because I have bought a bunch of stuff in real life that I didn't have for Premodern. I'm going to leave this one here. T-Bone, thanks for sharing this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I will see you next time.